welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be going over some of my statistics from the first quarter of 2026's reading and doing a little bit of just like a superlative? Is that what they're called? I don't really know. That I found on TikTok actually. So we're going to be going over that. So first let's go over all the stats for the first quarter. I think if I remember properly it was like 50 something books. Okay, so I read exactly 50 books in the first quarter of the year, and somehow I only got 4 or 5 stars out of that. So yeah, not great odds going on, but I have managed to get through a significant amount of the books that I've had on my TBR for the longest. I've been really trying to do some TBR takedown videos, if you guys have seen those, and try to dedicate at least a little bit of time to picking out the books that I just haven't been gravitating towards in a while because I don't own them. So that could contribute to the lack of 5 stars. I'm not entirely sure, but I would really like to have some more in the second quarter of the year, that's for sure. So now getting into sort of like the superlatives that I found on TikTok. These were actually created. I don't know if Bailey found them somewhere else or if she just kind of came up with these, but Bailey is the one that actually posted something that I saw. She's also here on YouTube. I don't think she did a YouTube video on it. It was just like that short little TikTok post. So I am going to be stealing my ideas from her. But first up we have favorite read of the beginning of the year. And that is actually, of course I don't have these in order, that is actually going to be Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. Like I said, only 4 or 5 star reads, so I didn't have a huge range to pick from, but this was like the easy standout in that I adored this book so much. I cannot wait to continue through this series. This actually is one of those series that almost got me to completely abandon my TBR and just like binge the entire thing, which doesn't happen a lot for me, especially because I don't own the rest of the books. But this is more of a YA fantasy, and it follows a young girl who has been working as a slave, and she's finally earned enough money to try and buy her freedom. Unfortunately, that doesn't really go the way that she planned. Things actually go quite horribly. She ends up getting out and she runs to the Orders, I think they're called. I can never remember. Yeah, the Orders, which is a really powerful organization of magic wielders, and she begs them to train her so that she can eventually raise up like this army to go back and free the rest of the slaves to overthrow some really tyrannical governing people. She ends up getting partnered with somebody that is very against the Order. He doesn't really work with them anymore, and you get to sort of see her learn how to control her powers, how to expand on her powers. There's a fantastic romance between the two of them. He is such a simp for her, like down bad. She can drag him to the ends of the earth through hell and he won't care. He'll follow her regardless. Even if she tries to leave him behind, he still follows her. And I love that. He's just adorable and fantastic. But I also just love the badass female character in here and the way that she is willing to put everything on the line to fight for her people, to fight for slaves everywhere, and not take the crap that she's been given her entire life. She knows that she deserves more and she's willing to fight for it, and I just loved that. So really excited to get to the rest of that series. Then next up we have Best Sequel, and for any of you that follow me at all for a while, you will realize that I'm not great at reading sequels because I maybe don't own them on my physical TBR, or they weren't on my monthly TBR, and I feel bad trying to abandon that much, and yeah, I'm just not great about reading sequels. So I didn't really have a lot to pick from in the first quarter. In fact, I think there were only two or three. So the one that I ended up choosing is Hook, Line, and Sinker. This is like technically an interconnected standalone romance, but I'm still counting it because I really do strongly believe that you need to read the first book in order to appreciate this one to its full potential, mainly because there's a lot of setup in the first one. Not a lot, but there's a setup in the first one for these two characters, and I feel like you miss some of the connection and the foundation building if you don't read that one, and then you jump into this and you're like, why are you two so obsessed with each other all of a sudden? Like, where did this come from? So yeah, very strongly believe that. But this follows Fox and Hannah. They, like I said, met in the first one in this small town in Maine, and Hannah doesn't live in this small town, so she goes back to her life, her job, working on movie sets, and they communicate primarily through texting and through songs. Like, they are always asking what kind of song day it was, like what does today remind you of, and I think that's just so cute and fun. and the text messages between them are just adorable to read. I really loved that. But Hannah eventually tries to step up in her job, and she's working towards a new position, and she suggests that they move the filming of her current movie to this little town in Maine. So they move there, she gets to see Fox more and interact more, and I just really enjoyed their chemistry. I felt like Fox was a very well-rounded male character. He had his own stuff going on that you don't necessarily always get in romances. Sometimes it really only focuses on sort of the backstory and the struggles of the female character, and ignores the fact that men also have their own struggles and issues that might cause them, you know, some concerns in a relationship. So I really appreciated that as well, and it was a good time, like a giggly good time, like a perfect summer read. So if you're starting to get into those summery books, this is a great one, as is the first book, obviously. Then next up we have most surprising read of the year. This one was an easy one to pick, and that is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I don't know why, but I didn't think I was going to enjoy this. I can't even begin to explain why. I guess maybe I thought it was going to be too much of like a cozy fantasy. The description is about a girl named Tress who is known only her island home in the emerald green ocean. She has simple pleasures such as collecting cups bought by sailors from faraway land and listening to stories told by her friend Charlie. But when her father takes him on a voyage to find a bride and disaster strikes, Tress must stow away on a ship and seek the sources of the deadly Midnight Sea. Amid the spore oceans where pirates abound, can Tress leave her simple life behind and make her own place sailing a sea where a single drop of water can mean instant death. It just sounded a little bit too weird, honestly. Like the sorceress of the deadly Midnight Sea and spore oceans, and I'm like, what the frick are spore oceans? And then she just like collecting cups, and I'm like, this is gonna be too cozy fantasy for me. And I like Brandon Sanderson's world is also just a scary place to be because everything tends to connect back to each other. It's called the Cosmere, and there's a lot in it, and I just wasn't sure that I was going to enjoy a different book in it outside of the Mistborn series, and oh my god, I was really, really wrong. I loved this so much. This is not going to be for everybody. The way that this story is told reminds me very much of like someone telling a young child like a fairy tale or a cute story, kind of the way that the little boy in Princess Bride is told the story of the princess of what is her name? I don't remember what her name is, but in that style, like he adds his own commentary and kind of breaks the fourth wall, and I really enjoyed it, but I know that some people aren't going to, and that's fine. Not every book is for everybody, but this was definitely for me. If you really like cozy fantasy, I think you're going to love this. The audiobook for this is fantastic, and I do believe this is actually a really good intro to Brandon Sanderson's world and his writing style at it like a slightly more accessible level, because it's not a fantasy with multiple books, it's just one book, but it still has a really unique and vibrant world and magic setting. So yeah, this one was really surprising. I didn't expect to love this, so that was an easy 5 stars by the time I finished it. Next up we have new to me favorite author. So Carissa Rodbrent is definitely going to be one of them, but in an effort to pick somebody that I haven't talked about yet, I picked Stacia Stark. I just read Re Who Will Die in March and absolutely loved it. This is another one of my 5-star reads, and I just really thought that the magic system in here was really unique, and not even the magic system, just the way that the storyline was set up. It follows gladiator style games, and you don't really see those too much and there's a lot of books now that are centered around trials and games and stuff, and I just thought the gladiator style was really fun, and she throws vampires in there. It made me feel a little bit like I was getting a love triangle between Damon and Stefan and Elena in the Vampire Diaries, which I love, so I liked that vibe, and just her writing style is so easy to take in. Not to say that it's like a low level of writing or anything like that, you just get really sucked into it, and it's very page turning, and I just really, really enjoyed this. So I'm definitely going to continue reading her books as much as possible. After that we have books that were released in the first quarter of the year that I haven't gotten to. There weren't a ton of new releases that I was really anxious to get to, otherwise I probably would have. But the first one I can think of is In Her Own League by Liz Tom40. I mainly haven't gotten to that because I haven't finished the Windy City series. I know, I keep putting it off because like I just don't want to step away from those characters in that world. But we have that. We have Alice Feeney's new book, which is My Husband's Wife. I wasn't really anticipating reading this, but I have since seen, like since it came out, a bunch of really, really good reviews about it. So now I'm actually really, really intrigued and would like to give that a try. Another new release that's not super high on my radar, but I did almost pick up, is And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. This is the sequel to, oh no, crap, I don't remember what it's a sequel to. It's like the radio show one with the pink cover. I can picture the cover, I just can't picture the title. Anyway, I haven't been wanting to read this one because I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. I felt like it dragged on a little bit too long, but I do like her style of writing, so I think it was just that specific book wasn't for me, but I would still love another one by her. So at some point I would like to get to that one, hopefully. But yeah, those are some of the new releases in the first quarter of the year that I haven't gotten to, that I probably will. I don't know, I'm not racing to get to any of them though. And then the last question is books that I am anticipating for the second quarter of the year. I actually have a list of like new releases on my phone, so we're gonna pull those up because I know that there's a couple coming up that I'm really excited about. So first up is Our Perfect Storm by Carly Fortune. I have ended up loving all of her books. Some are higher rated than others, but her most recent one last year I absolutely adored, and I can't wait to get another one by her. They just, yeah, they're good romantic summer reads, so I'm excited about that. That one releases May 5th. We have a new Elsie Silver, Fever Dream. I always love Elsie Silver, so really curious to see sort of what the new setup for her new series is going to be. Ballad of Fallen Dragons is finally coming out, and I loved When the Moon Hatched, and we've been waiting for, it feels like a very long time for this book to come out, so I'm excited for that one. Rights of Starling is also actually already out, but that was an early April release. This is the sequel to Shield of Sparrows, and I loved Shield of Sparrows last year. Very, very close to being a 5-star read, so I'm nervous for this one because I don't know where she's going to go with it, but the setup for the second book was really strong. So I am excited for that one as well. And I think that's going to be it for like new releases in the second quarter of the year. There's some that are later at the end of the year that I'm really excited to get to though. And then beyond that, I'm just trying to actually get myself to finish the priority books from 2025, like my 25 and 2025 TBR that I haven't read yet because they were really long series. So I'm going to really be prioritizing trying to get through the rest of the Zodiac Academy world. My problem was that I didn't realize that I was getting myself into like a 12 book world, so that was my mistake. I want to finish the Beartown series. I am actually currently reading Us Against You and really loving it, really loving his writing style. And then I also want to finish the Magnolia Parks series, so those are 3 series that I'm going to be heavily focusing on in the second quarter of the year. That way I have half of the year to try to really dig into my priority TBR for 2026. I've been working through it a little bit, but not like heavily focusing on it because I wanted to get through last year's. So those are just some of the books that I'm looking forward to in the second sort of quarter of this year. I can't believe we're already 3.5 months at this point into the year. Like, that's absolutely wild to me. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you made it this far, definitely go check out Bailey's channel. I love watching her content, and obviously, like, I decided to sort of replicate something that she promoted, so obviously I really enjoyed her. She's just such a great creator, so go check out her channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye guys.